Stove Time. I'm Jeff.
I'm Tom.
I'm Kim.
And we're 3 Old Reds fans coming to you from one of our favorite diners, Stingers, on the Cedarville campus, just a few blocks from our good friends at Beans back in the heart of Cedarville, the famous birthplace and final resting place of Reds legend Bumpus Jones, as we all know. So you might hear some background noise on this one. We're sitting here. We just had lunch. Going to talk about the Reds for a few minutes. This will be a little shorter podcast than normal, I think. Some of us have to get back to work, and so it'll be a little shorter than normal. We're going to talk about pitching, obviously, what the Reds are looking at, names we've heard thrown around, what we think of those. And then with Billy Hamilton being gone, what do we think might happen in center field? What would we like to see happen? Yada, yada, yada. Okay? So, it's a nice Seinfeld reference. So, if you subscribe to us, wherever you do, give us a rating. Helps other people find us, and we want to try to build this community here, have our own Reds Nation of about, a few hundred people at least. That'd be nice. So, anyway, this rebuild is ongoing, and we're hearing about the Reds are going to do pitchers. They're going to get pitchers. What's the name you guys have heard that you'd like to see? I'd like to see that guy in a Reds uniform.
Dallas Keuchel.
Dallas Keuchel.
Lefty, younger.
He's 30, 31. But that's pitching prime, right?
It is. The other guy who is Corey Kluber would be nice from the Indians. And there's a guy we just talked about from the Yankees.
Sonny Gray.
Sonny Gray would be a great one. Any of those, I think, would be great options.
Anything's an upgrade at this point, right?
And any of those guys, I think, surprise to everybody, to all of our listeners, I would trade any prospect we have for any of them.
We know. He'd trade his own son.
I would trade I'd trade Thomas for one of these guys. My son.
Especially if he beat you in the playoffs of our fantasy football league. Right?
Which is possible.
It's likely. It's probable. We all play in the same fantasy football league, and let's just say
my team's had struggles this year.
Glad he's not running the Reds. This is how he runs his football team.
Exactly. If Tom was a real GM, he'd be looking for work this offseason.
I think. Listen, it's been injuries. I've had a lot of injuries.
Oh, okay. We got to overcome that adversity. It's up to you.
Next man up.
All right. So the reason we like Keuchel, I think, he's been successful. He's a ground ball pitcher, which is nice for Great American. So, what do you think of those names? Any you to add to that, Kim, or any you don't like?
That I can think of. So many names out there that I don't know that.
Well, Trevor Bauer's been mentioned too from the Indians. They might
I would just say any of those type of pitchers that have had those results, that success. And Jeff, you brought it up a number of times in texting, the ground ball pitcher. Playing in Great American, we need someone who specializes, if you would, in their outs being ground ball pitches.
Yeah, a lot of guys don't want to come to Great American to pitch because of launching pad.
It's a homer park. Coors is more of a hitter's park because Coors is so big. What they did at Coors was they pushed the fences back to keep down the home runs. Well, there's a lot more doubles and triples in that park because the outfield's so big.
Even Votto had one of his 2 or 3 triples last year at Coors.
It's going to be at Coors because it's cavernous. And you like that word? It's cavernous. Like the old polo grounds. So I think that is definitely true that pitchers wonder about that. But guys have pitched successfully there.
Yep.
I mean, Cueto did. Latos pitched really well there for a while. And all those other guys that were on that staff pitched well and had success there. You are going to give up some more home runs there, but so is the opposition. Mm-hmm. So it probably tends to even out. Now, nothing's really evened out with our pitching staff lately. I mean, our guys have been historically bad. But yeah,
Keuchel's only 30 years old.
Yeah. I mean, that's not that old.
He's lefty. We don't have a lefty. Well, we have what's his name? He keeps getting hurt.
Yeah.
What's his name? The Reds lefty.
We're not in season now. We can't remember their name.
Who? DeSclafani?
No,
he's a right-hand. Oh, Finnegan.
Finnegan.
Yeah.
Oh, Cody Reed.
So we're still looking for a couple of solid guys in the rotation, and then you figure a Castillo, somebody else, hopefully somebody else, pitches decently. I tell you, the guy I got my eye on as a prospect, Tom?
I'm all for pitching prospects.
Okay. Is Tony Santillan, who's only 21. He was dominant last year in Double-A. That guy should be in Triple-A this year. I think if he doesn't walk people. I think he had some of that in the past, but he's not anymore. He's shown that he's not going to walk a lot of guys anymore. I think that's a guy we could see pitching for the Reds at some point next year. I don't think he's a opening day rotation guy because of his inexperience so far. I don't think they would do that. But I think at some point in the season,
what's his name again?
Tony Santillan, Santillan or IAN.
I thought it was Santillan or something.
Santillan's how it's pronounced.
Okay.
He can throw high 90s.
No.
He's a 90s. He's a fastball. Got a lot of good plus stuff. Everybody likes him a lot. He's not high on a lot of prospect lists, but he's gaining momentum, and that's a guy. He pitched in Double-A last year, I think. Yeah, pitched at Pensacola. He was 361 in 11 games down there. So I think that's a guy that somebody to look forward to.
Well, see, we talked earlier, for the Reds to be a World Series contender, you're right, you got to build it from the minor leagues. But we also have to have a solid number one.
Yeah.
And I just don't think we've got a number one in our world right now. I mean, Hunter Green could become a number two or number one eventually. Maybe Castillo could eventually.
Yeah, Tony Santillan. Yeah. There's three. Those are probably the three guys in the system right now that project as potential number one guys. I don't think anybody else in the system projects as potential number one ace.
So
guy. Those are the three guys.
We all agree that Dick Williams needs to go get us a number one, and then we fill in with our prospects. Right? That's the best road.
Or he gets us two guys that are. We need depth. Probably right now more than we need a one. Do you get a one and get one guy and fill in with four guys, or do you get two guys that are more like twos and threes? And
that's a money issue.
That's a money issue, yeah.
Is the number one guy going to cost as much as two good number twos?
Exactly. He might.
Maybe.
He might. And they've got it's going to be bidding wars. Who wants what? Keuchel's certainly desirable. So, anyway. Any other thoughts on pitchers?
I don't know if I have any thoughts about what you're discussing in terms of individuals. I just know that we better go ahead and start getting someone soon, because last year, there was a little bit of talk, and next thing you know, everyone was taken.
Yeah.
Well, this is the time. This time of year right now.
Happen again. So we saw some moves this past week already, and we've got to believe that the Reds are talking to some of these.
Yeah. It'd be nice to see one signed by the end of the year or early January at the latest. But I mean, we're only 2 months. We're not much more than 2 months from pitchers and catchers reporting. I mean, it is really. What's the date today? December 4th. So I mean,
that makes me feel good.
We're close.
Spring training's coming.
Yeah, 2 months from now we'll be saying, they report next week. So yeah, it'll be here. It'll happen fast. All right. Well, the other big news lately was the Reds are letting Billy Hamilton go in different directions, center field. I'm okay with that. Anybody? You guys okay with that?
Yeah, I think we're all okay with that. We love Billy. Love to watch him play, but for the good of the team, right?
As I said earlier, we were winning 68 games with him.
Yeah.
He's fun to watch, make diving catches. It's fun to watch him get on base, make things happen, whether it's a stolen base or getting 3 bases when most people would only get 1. But the bottom line is he could not produce at a level that's going to allow your team to succeed.
All right. When he was good for 3 or 4 weeks, it was really good. But he was just too streaky.
Unfortunately, the season's 6 months long.
Yeah. He'd be good for 3 weeks and then not very good for 6. So it was kind of like you got him about a third of the time what you wanted. If that, a quarter to a third of the time he was who you wanted him to be. The rest of the time he wasn't, and it's not sustainable. So, well, we know they're working Senzel out. center field some, trying to make him an outfielder.
Now, I haven't heard that what you just said. What I recall 6+ weeks ago was we're going to start him out in left field in the Arizona League.
Yeah, well.
So I would hope that that's now center field, if not even before, and they just said left field.
You would start somebody in left. It's the easiest position to play in.
I would start
in
a
the
kid in
outfield.
center and let him play in the rookie league, Arizona League, whatever it is.
And he's not going to be there in April.
I think he might. It just won't be the 1st of April.
All right.
I hope.
How's he going to get good in 2 months?
Here's what I think.
It doesn't happen.
How about react to this statement? React to this statement. I know you react to a lot of my statements, but this is not going to be ridiculous or outlandish. Is Nick Senzel one of the 25 best players in the Reds system?
We don't know. He hasn't had enough at bats in the major leagues.
The minor league?
No, the whole from Joey Votto on down. Is he one of the 25 best guys?
And based on, we know how Tom thinks and what he just said, we're basing it on the data that he has produced at the minor league level.
Yeah. Do you think?
Then absolutely.
That's not valid.
Yes.
That's not valid, guys.
I went based on his criteria.
I think it's valid.
No, it's not. How can you put him in
All
the majors for
tell me-
100 at bats and compare it?
Tell
And
me
then tell
this.
me.
Tell me this. There are going to be 2 or 3 guys on that opening day roster that you know are never going to be regulars in the major leagues. Why would they be on the roster? And a guy like Nick Senzel, who everybody thinks is going to be a really good player and a regular, why would he not be on the roster versus some
And you know the answer.
Cliff
to that.
Pennington?
One word answer: control.
I don't care about that, honestly.
But I'm answering your question. You don't care about it, but that if he doesn't start out with a big club before mid to the 3rd week of April, that's why control.
Yeah.
Or you don't want him to sit the bench, and you'd rather have him play down at AAA.
Well,
If he's going to be on,
If he's one of
the
the-
Reds, he's going to be on.
he better play. He better be playing. He ain't going to be some bench.
If he's not going to start, if his defense is not ready,
If his defense isn't ready,
I doubt if it would be
That's
by
the
April.
That's the only thing. But I'd like to see. At some point, you got to get these guys up there and play them. You can't. The fact that
Okay.
I know he had injuries last year, but the fact that he didn't play in the majors last year is very disappointing. That he didn't get a chance. Now I realize he probably would have if he hadn't got hurt that second time. But anyway, tell Tom. What are you going to tell him?
No, I want to say, to get his thoughts. I will preface it by saying Billy could have easily been Golden Glove the past 3 years, okay? But he wasn't. Look how quickly he adapted to center field. Now,
how do you define quick? Because it was, I'd say it was over 2 years.
No, it was not.
He was a shortstop coming up.
Right, but it was not. I don't think it was.
The first year he played center field, he was not Gold Glove caliber.
But
He was above average.
I do not expect anyone to be able to play and cover the ground and make top 10 plays like he did. But I would suspect that Senzel could adapt and pick up the position in 2 to 3 months to where he is playing and not hurting the team at this level.
I wouldn't start a high schooler or a college player in center field who had only had 2 months of reps in center field.
So Robin Yount would have never gone to center field, and by your definition, Robin Yount would have never played center field. Pete Rose wouldn't have moved from left field to third base. By the way, and the story goes, it was like on a Tuesday, and Sparky went, pick a day of the week. He went to Pete and said, "I'm thinking of playing George. When do you think you'd be ready to play third base?" And the answer was like, by Friday.
First of all, I think that was a different era than today.
It was.
The 70s and now are not.
But we're not talking about having to learn a new position from the 70s to now as being anything different. You're still roughly either.
I think they did things in the 70s they would never do today.
But the point is not what they would or wouldn't do. The point is learning how to play a new position. You still have a glove. You still have spikes. You're still at the same spot in the outfield.
I think you could throw him at first base. You could throw him in left field. And yeah, I think we'd be okay with that. Center field, shortstop, second base, catcher. Up the middle is a whole different ballgame.
So you would be okay with Shebs in center, Winker in right, and
Senzel in left,
or probably Senzel in right or Winker in right.
I think you could start the year to that. You could start the season with Shebs in center and Senzel in left, and eventually change it. I mean, Shebler really probably never played much center field until he had to fill in for Billy. He may have played center field in high school.
Yeah.
But
Well, you don't think he did in the minors?
I don't know. I'd have to.
He doesn't look like he's built for center field.
He doesn't look like a center
doesn't.
fielder. And he's not great, but of course we're comparing him to Billy out there. So I think you could start that way.
Well,
But here's what I think. I think Senzel, Billy's gone. I think that is paving the way for Senzel to be in the starting lineup at the start of the year. I think that's the reason they did it.
I agree. And there's no doubt in my mind that Nick Senzel, as long as he doesn't have vertigo, is working out at center field as
You get
we
all
speak.
spring training.
Even before spring training. No doubt in my mind, wherever he is working out, getting ready for center field.
So let me ask you this then. You said 2 months. February, spring, whatever he's doing over the off season, plus most of February, all of March, is 2+ months. Is that enough? You think he could be ready to be the center fielder on opening day if he plays it every day?
I think the safer bet's to put him in left.
But we don't. I mean, we're trying to predict the future here. I mean, he possibly could be very good they could probably see that he's. What if he's the best center fielder on the roster? But if he is better, if they know he's better than Shebler on opening day, do you play him in center field?
Yeah, you'd have to.
You have to then, right? So I mean, we have to wait and see. You're feeling.
We're not sure if he can hit yet.
Oh, he can hit. You're feeling cautious.
How do you know that?
I know he can. He will. He'll hit.
How do you know that?
Because you base your
He'll hit.
talent on the level of where they are. By your definition.
Exactly.
By your
exactly
definition.
what you're saying is exactly right.
By your definition, no one will be successful at the major league level.
No, I don't trust anybody being successful in the major league level until they do it.
All right.
Well, you got to give him a chance.
You gotta give him a chance.
A year ago this time, you were not big on Winker. Now, he got hurt this past year, but you look at what he did before he got hurt. Are you more in favor of Winker now?
I am, because he's proven himself.
But you got to give him a chance.
But Winker.
But I'm not
let me
counting
finish.
on it until we see it.
But Winker was successful in the minor league levels that allowed him that opportunity at the major league level. That's what we're saying with
Kim,
Senzel.
we could probably find out 10 other players that were successful and didn't pan out.
But
in the
they
majors.
have not had the results and the success that Senzel's had. That's my point.
Maybe. I mean, I've never done the research. But
Well,
We would hear about it.
He's
Tom.
good.
We
He's
would
good.
hear about it.
I don't
you
think
hear about guys that were successful in the minors and didn't do well in the majors? You wouldn't hear about that.
To your comment, if there were other guys who were in the Reds organization who were as successful as Senzel, we would hear about it. Senzel has been our top
he's
prospect.
been the most talked about prospect since Jay Bruce as a hitter. Would you agree with that?
I'd say there's probably true.
There hasn't been other talked about Reds prospects.
But not to this level.
Yeah, it's hard to quantify.
That's just memory.
Drew Stubbs, was he to this level? I think
talked-
Drew
they
was
talked
more.
a lot about him.
I think
Talked
Drew
a-
was more for his defense and the range he covered
Defense
out in
and
center
speed.
field.
Speed and defense. And he had power. He could hit for power, but he never could
And he
hit
looked
for
good.
average.
He looked like a player.
Yeah, he looked like a player. And that goes back to the whole Billy Bean thing. You know,
Cybermetrics.
Billy Bean looked like a player,
Sabermetrics.
but he never really panned out.
Saber
Cyber,
I'm in the cyber world.
You're in the cyber world. All right, so should they go sign or trade for who's available? Is it AJ Pollock a free agent? Adam Jones can be a free agent. Should they go get one of those guys
Williams
for center
said
field?
they were open to it.
Or should we just say let's go with Senzel and see what happens?
Maybe that's why they were talking to Bryce Harper.
That's a whole different can of worms.
Yeah,
isn't
that's
it?
too expensive probably. And
And he
Bryce-
doesn't bring chemistry that you want in the clubhouse.
How do you
based
know
on
that?
what
It's not
just
gonna
based on what we're reading of what has happened in Washington. How do we know anything? Because we're
he's
never
an
in the
immature.
clubhouse.
He's an immature kid. He's changed. He's 26 now. I'd take a chance on him. I wouldn't.
I wouldn't put all my
I've
money
seen
into
a
that
lot
kid.
of teams win with dysfunction with clubhouse issues. I'm not too worried about that.
To answer your question, no, I
At
wouldn't
the
get a center
professional
fielder.
level, I don't want it on my middle school basketball team.
Why?
But I don't.
He would
But
dominate.
but at the major league level, there's no clubhouse that's you hear about. Oh, it's a good clubhouse, and these guys all get along. That's not really true. It's some are better than others, but I don't think there's ever been a professional major league baseball clubhouse where everybody got along.
Well, I don't think anybody's saying that.
Yeah.
I just say he does not represent what you want your typical teammate to be like. I look at someone like Votto, who's a student of the game. That's
But
what
I think,
want
but I
guys who are
think,
students of the game.
I don't think Joey Votto was necessarily that kind of guy.
He's
early
not
on.
who you would pick for your clubhouse either.
And Joey
Agreed.
Votto
I'm talking
has
about Joey
grown
Votto
into
now.
that.
But
So I think Harper could grow into that too.
that would be nice if he did, but right now it doesn't seem to be the case. But to answer your question, not only just that, but also the money it would take to get Bryce Harper. The needs are so great, and as Tom has spoken on the past couple of years, pitching, I would want to invest that money in pitching,
I would too.
preferably
I
the
would
free
too.
agency route.
I mean, if they had the money to get the 2 pitchers and Bryce Harper, I'd go for it. But I don't think that that's the case. It's not. It doesn't sound realistic. So I'm not. Really, it's like coming. That conversation kind of comes and goes, right? So just because he went and apparently met with them, well, he's probably meeting with 15 teams.
He probably is. I think we'll all be really disappointed if next week we hear that the Reds signed a center fielder
By the name of Gosselin or Pennington.
or Jones. We'll be really
Adam Jones is
disappointed.
over. I don't mind.
will be.
Well, we need a 4th outfielder next year, so
You
I don't
got
know.
so many to choose
we?
from.
Maybe. I mean, maybe Irvin could be Philip Irvin's possible 4th outfielder.
I think so.
So, he could be. Anyway, all right. So pitching, center field. We talked about anything else. We're going to wrap this up.
So are we all signing up for the Cincinnati Reds Fantasy Week in Arizona?
No,
We don't have our van ready yet, do we?
my only fantasy is that they get starting pitchers.
Good one.
I will say this, if nothing else, I'm excited about the fact that not so much that Billy was let go, although I think that was easily the right move, but it was done. Castellini seemed to have had him as a favorite. That seems to be the
Yeah, I
sentiment.
like all the things they've done so far. The vibe I'm getting from
I
it.
like David Bell. I liked him when I first heard about him. And then you see what's going on with the hires and the moves, the changes. It just seems to be in the right direction, and it's got to start at the top, right?
And it gives
It
us
has.
hope. I mean, we joke about the Reds. Hope is not a strategy, which it's not for hoping guys figure it out. But we, as fans, want to have some hope that things are going to get better. And these things give us hope. I mean, that's what you look for.
Like Votto told David Bell, I hope you're the last manager I play.
Yeah,
for."
I agree. That'd be nice.
If the Reds did nothing but sign one significant pitcher, I think it's been a successful offseason. If they did nothing but that.
It's definitely been a vast improved step.
I think if they sign one, it's good. But it feels like
A little bit short.
I didn't get the Christmas present I was hoping for. You know what I'm saying?
You
I
can grow up.
want two. That's all I want for Christmas is
I'm
2
not
starting
sure if
pitchers.
that's financially viable. Mr.
I
Gilbert.
think it is. I think they got more money than they're willing to admit.
They will after next year when Homer's gone.
I thought he has more than next year on his contract.
I thought it was one more year.
Is
I
it?
don't know. I have to look it
I
up.
don't know. Good question.
These things get deferred off.
They're
There's
still-
an
they're still
option
paying
year that they
Griffey.
don't have to do.
We're not paying Bobby Bonilla.
No, we're still paying King.
We're still paying Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah, but it's relative peanuts compared to overall payroll. I mean, it's in the millions, but it's still not much. So anyway, they can't.
How many years
They
did
can't
Griffey
blame-
defer his pay?
10
10 years?
Yeah, it's going on for a while still.
Amazing.
Yeah, so he doesn't have to work because he's getting paid every year by the Reds. I mean,
And the pension he's going to get too.
yeah, exactly. All right, gentlemen. Anything else?
Nope.
Wrap it up. All right. Well, so next time, I don't know when that'll be. Probably once we
Close to spring training or after a big signing?
or we sign somebody this month, and maybe we're not going to do a special Christmas edition unless we get those 2 pitchers by Christmas Day. Then we'll do the
Yeah,
special.
we may need
then we'll
to.
do the special Christmas edition. We'll bring the jingle bells and the sleigh bells and sing "Deck the Halls" with, we'll have a good time with that. So, otherwise, enjoy the holidays. Stay warm. Those of you who live in the north. If you live in the South, then you're lucky. That's the way I look
And
at
put a
it.
Cincinnati Reds ornament on your tree.
Exactly. So, and,
Wear red sweaters.
Wear red sweaters
Or don't.
or don't. Kim and I wore red sweaters today to lunch. Tom did not want to be that cheesy. So
he wore a burgundy type.
So he wore a flannel with burgundy and blue and white, which is kind of a nice looking shirt, actually.
Thanks for noticing.
Yeah. I like flannel. I would wear flannel every day if they'd let me, but they don't.
George Costanza.
Yes. All right. Well, until next time, go Reds.
Go Reds.
Go Reds.